we got this Tyler stuff and have so many thoughts. I have so many thoughts. Look, okay. Top down view of this is oh, Clopic 420. Thank you for that. Please buy them. Please buy them. Thank you for that. Um so the top down version of this is Tyler the Creator posted a tribute to D'Angelo, as many of us did that were influenced by D'Angelo, and we'll be playing voodoo later because we're a lot of us are very much. Thank you for the gifted. A lot of us are very affected by D'Angelo's death because we're very influenced by his music, and I could see, I could without having heard Tyler ever mention D'Angelo, I could see the avenue by which D'Angelo's influence lived in Tyler. So he made this tribute post, and apparently in the comments of the tribute post, there was a lot of like edge lord responses from people who were probably just trying to be edgy or actually don't give a fuck about D'Angelo. It could be either way. Um, but just sort of, I think, shitting on his tribute. And we're going to get into the details of it here. And apparently Tyler liked some sort of tweet where it was somebody saying that Tyler's fans don't care about black music. Um, and him liking a tweet made it an even more intense situation, because then people started digging up Tyler's old tweets that would seem to make it make sense that a lot of his fans didn't necessarily respect black music. And so what's happening is Tyler is sort of having to deal with or be confronted by some of his old attitudes and behaviors and choices in a way that I sort of always thought he would never have to deal with, because I didn't think that when he first came on the scene, and I was in LA, I was in indie rap a decade ago, whenever it was, when, you know, Odd Future, Tyler, Earl, Haji Beats, Left Brain, Frank Ocean, all of them came onto the scene, and the music was very provocative. It was very edgy, and you know, Tyler's early projects. I mean, I had a hard time listening to him as much as I appreciated the production, the musicality behind the beats, like the lyrics. Like, I was already too grown, really, to be fucking with that type of shit. Like, I'd had my phase in high school. I used to listen to early Eminem because I was in high school at that time. So like, I already had my era where like, oh, he's saying controversial shit. That's cool. I was grown, so I couldn't really fuck with it. But he went really hard. You know, he went really hard with the provocative shit. And a lot of their early movement seemed to be infused with that I don't give a fuck energy, and his, you know, his online persona included. There's a lot of bullshit. Um, it seems that through his maneuvering and projects and musical development and public relations navigation, it seemed like he had left it all behind and become sort of this newer, fully formed, more mature artist, and that somehow he had made it where people had made peace with what he used to do or had forgotten it, and he got all these new fans, and he wasn't going to have to deal with the things that he used to do or say. And it seems like, of all things, D'Angelo's passing has sort of brought this moment up where people are having to contend with how he used to behave versus how he behaves now. Um, And here's the story. So what's happening with Tyler, the Creator, and the D'Angelo tribute fallout? Tyler's past tweets are under new scrutiny after critics said his Odd Future era normalized ignorance towards black art amongst his fandom, which is, I mean, I think there's a real argument there. And I'll say this. Right or wrong, morally, ethically, good, bad, whatever, like, you can have your own stance on that. But one thing that I'll say is absolutely true, and one thing that I think any person has to deal with is that the seeds that you plant will grow into trees. Like that is undeniable. Like the attitudes that he put out into the world, the attitudes that he infused his work with in the beginning, especially as successful and far reaching as those things became, like that foundation will always be there. And it seems as if Tyler has made a decision to just let it stay there, not really deal with it, be sort of, I guess, above it to the degree in which he can. But I don't know if you get to just ignore it, because an edgelord reaction to his genuine feelings about a black genius musician passing, like that edgelord reaction isn't happening in everybody's Instagram post about D'Angelo, but it's happening in his, because I feel like in his younger self, he would have been part of those sorts of reactions. Like he would have, it seems like that's the side that he would have been on. So it seems impossible to me that he would have completely gotten away from that. But fully reckoning with the past season will require real humility and introspection. Not sure if that's going to happen with him. I think we're going to reach that crossroads soon. I mean, and I think that there's a section in this article, and I haven't read all the way through it, but I think there is a section where it does cover whether or not Tyler has responded to this. But I do think this moment is approaching, and there may be a question in terms of whether or not Tyler can truly occupy the space he wants to occupy now, whether or not he has to contend with his former attitudes. Tyler's tribute post to D'Angelo was met with insensitive comments, sparking outrage about the disconnect between his audience and the black artists he supports. Critics are revisiting Tyler's past behavior, highlighting old tweets with offensive content and questioning his role in cultivating his current audience. Tyler has not publicly addressed the backlash, but appears to be deleting some of the old tweets. Interesting. I mean, that's a way, but that's not deleting them up until this point also seems to be a choice. And maybe he's realizing that he wasn't going to be able to just skate by and become a new persona. Why is Tyler the creator after Neo Soul? Okay. So this was the post that Tyler made about D'Angelo. We are so lucky to have been able to have been alive to enjoy his art. Tyler wrote, "My musical DNA was helped shape by this man. Forever grateful. Safe travels." However, the comment section under his post, which has since been turned off, were reportedly flooded with off-topic and insensitive replies from fans who either didn't know D'Angelo or made jokes about when Tyler's next album would drop. Wow. Which, again, like, that sort of trolling, that's trolling. And Tyler was a huge fucking troll. He was a troll in his music. He was a troll around his music. He was a troll online. So if anyone should expect trolling in their audience, it would be Tyler. The tone-deaf responses sparked outrage across social media platforms, particularly among fans who felt they revealed a larger disconnect between Tyler's audience and the black artists he champions. What did Tyler say that sparked more controversy? In response to the wave of comments, Tyler tweeted and later deleted a tweet about sun dodgers. I guess that's supposed to be white people. I have not heard that term. The term was interpreted by some as a derogatory way to refer to white people, while Tyler previously used the phrase in reference to ICE agents in an unrelated Instagram post. Its use reignited long-standing criticisms about the racial dynamics within his fan base. Now, if we start having a conversation about racial dynamics in rappers' fan bases, that opens an entirely different can of worms. One that I can say what I was about to say is that one, it's like I'm on the front lines of, but I'm not. Like I'm in the indie side. I'm on the indie side. I'm in a niche of it, and in the niche I'm in, the conversation takes on a specific sort of tenor because the side I'm in, the corner of hip hop I'm in, represents, in terms of the intention behind the music, a more thoughtful, artful, if you will, approach to making the music. And within that, the investigation of the racial component of the fan bases starts to take on a little bit more of a potentially anti-black sentimented sort of discussion. So if it's more along the lines of like the public discourse that No Name was trying to have, which I can't speak to the success of, where she was talking about not wanting to perform if there weren't any black people in the audience. I've seen similar discourse arise around Billy Wood shows, where there have been comments about the whiteness of the audience, and that's certainly a reality that I deal with, and I think that there's a lot of layers to it, because what we have to contend with overall, right, is that this is mostly a white country. Like, and I think that oftentimes because of media representation, we lose sight of that. But black people are 10% of the population. 10%. So if you're reaching a wide number of people in America, it's most likely that black people are going to be a minority of your audience. Now, when you look at artists who have more black people in their audience than white people, then you have to look at marketing. I think you have to look at how music typically reaches black people, which to me has always been very intertwined with the most powerful and efficient parts of the music business, which is why particularly I think indie acts will have a harder time reaching black people because we're not working hand in hand with the industry the same way. I often ask people, like, think like who's the last indie artist that has a super, I mean, first of all, who's an indie artist with a super black fan base? And it's like, your mind might go to a Tyler, but Tyler's always been on major labels. Like, he's more independently, artistically minded. But again, that's what makes these conversations so difficult to have, because there's a way of thinking about indie artists that is based on aesthetics and based on creativity, based on freedom of different ways to create and build art. And then there's indie in the business sense. And in the business sense, it's always going to be harder to reach black people. There's not a lot of black artists that become popular with black people via word of mouth. That's not how it happens. But again, like I said, this is an entirely different can of worms. That, I'm always interested in having, and I'm always interested in hearing other people's insights on, but that may be another conversation for another time. How did fans and critics react online? Reddit user, what it looks like, Margaret TM, pointed out that the situation revealed the interesting ways in which black music is heard but not truly digested by non-black fans. This opened up a wider discourse. I mean, and there's a component in that comment about who music is intended for, which is tough because, like, okay, my work is always going to be rooted in a black American experience because that is who I am. And I don't think, I'll tell you this. I think on the indie side, more than anything, there's nobody writing with a particular demographic in mind in terms of who they want this music to reach. They want to make the music they want to make. We want to make the music we want to make and have it appeal to whoever it appeals to. Like that's part of the aesthetic of being independent, is to be able to follow your own creative whims, where on the big label side, you're going to be making a specific product to try to reach a specific group of people. So on that side, it's a little more calculated on who is supposed to be listening to this, quote unquote. And then that's an interesting dynamic to think about if you're attempting to make music that is communicating with black people, but knowing that a lot of the fans and consumers of it are also going to be white. That there's going to be messaging or notions in it that people outside of black culture may or may not understand. Like that is an interesting dynamic, and I'm sure Tyler has to deal with that in a way that most artists don't. Wider discussion of Tyler's white fan base engages with black culture on a superficial level. Tyler, the creator, liked a post calling out his fan base's relationship with black music. Got to go to the hellscape real quick. Tyler's fan base hates black music despite Tyler himself having a very deep love and appreciation for it. Nigga has Charlie Wilson, Erykah Badu, DJ Drama, etc. collaborations, and they still refuse to engage with black art on any meaningful level. Very cannibalistic. Well, I guess the question would be, through Tyler's music, does he encourage his fan base to engage with black music in a meaningful way? Is that happening in the music? Is that happening around the music? Does Tyler only express his meaningful love for black music when an artist passes away? I think these are all valid questions to ask. And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. The seeds that we plant, like that's what ends up being the trees that we're in. Like that's the forest that we're in. It's tough to say to what degree an artist is responsible for their audience. I agree. But I do think that an artist's approach to how they present their music, how they communicate around it, how they communicate inside of it, does have an effect on the sort of fandom that they attract. I think that there is something to be said about that. It is not a perfect science. I mean, if you even look at what we do around here, I mean, not all of who we have here in this community is based on my music, but I think that like I try to infuse my music with a respect for humanity and a respect for curiosity and, you know, a respect for respectful discourse. That I when I see the reflections of how this community engages with each other, it seems to have those sorts of sentiments and values infused in it. I think there's something to be said about those values being in the music and around the music that attracts a fan base that reflects it. I mean, I think that's true. And that's why, like, if you look at the math here, like, I think that, you know, a lot of what, as unfair as it might be to hold him accountable for how his fan base behaves, I think that there are some pretty clear lines to draw in this particular instance specifically. Update account Kirko reported that Tyler hit like on a tweet which read, okay, that was what we just discussed. The post widely circulated after the D'Angelo tribute added fuel to this already growing fire. Is Tyler being held accountable for his past behavior? Some fans and critics are now pointing fingers back at Tyler himself, with Hot New Hip Hop and Hot 97 both reporting that Tyler is being accused of cultivating the very type of audience now under fire. The rapper's critics have resurfaced alleged tweets from his early Odd Future days, particularly from 2012 to 2014, where Tyler reportedly made anti-black, misogynistic, and other offensive comments. Actually went and got my own screenshots of Tyler the Creator's tweets, adding keywords so folks can't act like these never existed. All right, well, let's take a look. Tyler posted, I hate Black History Month. Why the fuck do you still have to fucking separate? Niggas still always paying homage to our heroes. Fuck that, which sort of flies in the face of a D'Angelo tribute. I hate the black dude from Victorious. I don't even know what that is. I hate Black History. Oh, no, that's the same one. And black people are currently mad right now, but in 2 weeks we'll be over it because they really don't care. Cool hashtag though. And this is 2014. So like that, I mean, is this like Mike Brown time? Is this Trayvon Martin time? Like that's rough. That is rough. Yeah, and people are going at him in the comments for these type of behaviors. And so I think Tyler today would never say these things. I think Tyler was a different person then. But then I do think that Tyler has to understand that this is who he was going to get at the time. This is who he was appealing to at the time. This is who was jumping on the Tyler bandwagon in the beginning. It's people who rocked with shit like this and probably agreed with it. This tweet has 4,000 likes in 2014. Like, there were a lot of people who agreed with it who, you know, were probably people who started fucking with his music. Either already fucked with his music or started fucking with it around this time. And I would like to think that he's grown. But I think that if he gives a shit about anybody thinking that he's grown, he's going to have to speak to this somehow. I think that's really what it comes down to. It's going to have to be discussed. It can't be glossed over. Or if you're going to gloss over it, don't be mad that they wilding out in your D'Angelo tribute. Don't turn the comments off if you don't care. But I think he does care. And I think that if he does, then, you know, he's got to speak to this somehow. You know, he's cultivated this sort of fan base. Those people will probably listen to him if he says something more mature now. He could probably change these people's minds. He's not going to lose any fans, I don't think. So maybe, you know, maybe there's an opportunity there. If he really gives a shit. Maybe there's an opportunity there. Okay. Has Tyler responded to the criticism? So far, Tyler has not made any public statements addressing the backlash. However, Hot 97 notes that he appears to be quietly deleting some of the old tweets that have resurfaced. Tyler, the Creator, deleting tweets in real time. I don't think that makes things worse, actually. I think deleting the tweets is a first step in doing something helpful. I actually agree. Because it is taking some public step to let people know that he no longer agrees with the person that he used to be. So deleting it is a sort of shortcut way to do that, but I do think it's a good first step. A TV show with 99% white people and the only character you hate is the one cool black guy. Okay. In his Chromacopia album released last year, Tyler addressed the problematic past on the song Thought I Was There, where he says, pull up old tweets, pull up old t-shirts, all that, I'll moonwalk over that. Yeah, well, you know, that I never thought it was going to be that easy. And you know, it's been really amazing that he's been able to get as successful and beloved. I'm gonna tell you this: like, I was at Kendrick's pop out, and I have been to multiple giant sporting events, wrestling events. I have not heard a crowd pop in my life like that crowd in the Kia Forum popped when Tyler got on that stage at Kendrick's pop out. And this forum, this was Juneteenth. This forum was full of black people in LA, in South LA, in Inglewood. They lost their shit when Tyler got on stage. It's been amazing that he's been able to become as beloved given how provocative he was at the beginning. But I think we're reaching that moment where the past will have to be contended with in some way or another. And that's all I got to say about that. I'll be curious what y'all think too. I ran my mouth a lot while y'all was talking in the comments, so I missed a lot of what was said. I'm sure it was a lot of good and thoughtful stuff, as we have a wonderful community here. But for those that don't know, this is the morning show. Like and subscribe, homie, friend. It's free. Stop playing.